Hi, I'm Eden. My wife Melissa and I have been happily married for 3 years. She's brilliant, a marketing executive who landed her dream job at Pinnacle Advertising 6 months ago. Everything was perfect until her new boss, Victor Harmon, decided he was some kind of alpha male who could have whatever or whoever he wanted. How was work today? I asked, setting dinner on the table as Melissa walked through the door, shoulders slumped. Fine, she mumbled, dropping her bag and collapsing into a chair. Victor kept me late again reviewing the Thompson campaign. That's the third time this week. Did you actually need to stay late? She twirled pasta around her fork without taking a bite. Not really, he finds reasons. Reasons to keep you alone in the office with him? I tried to keep my tone casual, but something felt off. It's not like that, Eden, he's just demanding. Her eyes didn't meet mine. My friend Greg stopped by later that week while Melissa was at a mandatory weekend meeting. We were shooting hoops in the driveway when I mentioned my concerns. Something's up with Melissa's boss, I said, passing him the ball. Greg caught it, bouncing it thoughtfully. Victor Harmon? Man, I've heard things about that guy. My cousin worked at Pinnacle before she quit. Quit? Why'd she leave? She wouldn't say exactly, but she mentioned Harmon had boundary issues with female employees. Greg took a shot, missing completely. Claims he's some kind of alpha male business genius. Calls himself the lion around the office. You're kidding. Wish I was. He's got this whole philosophy about dominance in the workplace, especially with women he thinks are... Greg hesitated. Are what? Available regardless of their relationship status. That night, Melissa's coworker Sarah called. I answered because Melissa was in the shower. Eden? It's Sarah from Melissa's work. Is she there? She's showering. Everything okay? A pause. Not really. Look, I don't know if she's told you, but Victor's behavior is getting worse. Today, he cornered her in the copy room, told her she belonged to him at work, not to her husband. Sarah's voice dropped to a whisper. He touched her hair, said she should wear it down because alphas prefer it that way. My blood ran cold. Has he done this before? It started with comments, then lunch demands, now this. Several of us have noticed, but everyone's afraid of him. He's fired people for less. Why are you telling me this? Because Melissa's my friend, and I'm worried she won't tell you herself. She's afraid of losing this job. You know how hard she worked for this position. When Melissa emerged from the shower, I tried to stay calm. Sarah called, I said carefully. Her face paled. What did she want? To tell me what's really happening at work. The truth poured out then. The escalating comments, uncomfortable compliments, unwanted touches on her shoulder or back. And today, the hair incident. Through tears, Melissa explained how Victor had gradually isolated her, making her dependent on his approval, while simultaneously suggesting her success was tied to her connection with him. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, holding her trembling hands. Because I was embarrassed, because I thought I could handle it, because I didn't want to lose everything I've worked for. She wiped her eyes. And because he said nobody would believe me over him. The next morning I called Greg. I need your help. Your cousin who worked at Pinnacle. Can you put me in touch with her? Jenna? Sure, but what's going on? Victor Harmon is harassing Melissa, badly. I need to know if there's a pattern. Greg whistled. Man, that's serious. Give me an hour. True to his word, Greg arranged a meeting with Jenna at a coffee shop downtown. She was nervous, constantly checking over her shoulder. I never filed a formal complaint, she explained, voice barely above a whisper. He made it clear it would be career suicide. What exactly did he do? I asked. It starts small. Compliments, special attention. Then, private meetings, touching comments about belonging to him during work hours. He has this whole philosophy about workplace dynamics and how women naturally respond to alpha leadership. She made air quotes around the word. He told me my husband wasn't man enough to handle me. Did you tell anyone? HR is in his pocket, but... She hesitated, glancing around again. I kept a journal with dates, times, witnesses, and recordings. My head snapped up. Recordings? After he started getting handsy, I recorded our meetings on my phone. New York is a one-party consent state for recordings. Do you still have them? She nodded. Never had the courage to use them, but I couldn't delete them either. On my way home, Sarah called again. Eden, I've been talking to other women at the office. You're not going to believe this. There are at least 5 others currently dealing with his behavior. 2 more left in the past year. Would they be willing to come forward? They're scared, but if someone else goes first, maybe. When I got home, I found Melissa sitting at the kitchen table, eyes red. He called me at home, she said flatly. Wanted to know who Sarah was talking to yesterday. Said he owns my work life and needed to protect his investment. That's it, I said, sitting across from her. This ends now. What can we do? It's his company. He's untouchable. No one is untouchable. I spoke with Jenna today. Greg's cousin, what does she have to do with this? She left Pinnacle because of Victor, and she has recordings. Melissa's eyes widened. Recordings of what? His harassment, and she's not the only one he's targeted. I can't file a complaint, Eden. He'll destroy my career. Not if we do this right. Sarah says there are others, current employees, with multiple victims and evidence. You don't understand, Melissa interrupted. He has connections everywhere in this industry. And we'll have evidence, I countered. Plus a friend of mine from college is a detective now, David Jenkins. A detective? This isn't a criminal matter, is it? Workplace sexual harassment might not be, but stalking and threatening behavior could be. Calling our home, claiming ownership of you. At minimum, we need advice on how to gather evidence properly. Later that evening, I called Detective Jenkins. Dave, it's Eden. I need advice on a situation with my wife's boss. What kind of situation? Sexual harassment escalating to stalking behavior, calling our home, making possessive statements. That could cross into criminal territory. Tell me everything. After I explained, he said, document absolutely everything. Dates, times, witnesses. Have your wife send emails to herself after incidents creating timestamps. And New York allows one-party recording consent. Use it. What about the recordings from the former employee? Those could be crucial, but we need to establish a current pattern too. The next week was tense. Melissa documented everything while Sarah quietly connected us with two other women currently experiencing similar behavior. Meanwhile, Jenna provided her recordings and journal entries. Then came the company party, a mandatory event Melissa couldn't skip. I insisted on attending as her +1. He won't try anything with you there, she said nervously as we walked in. That's the idea. Victor spotted us immediately. He was tall, with carefully styled silver hair and an expensive suit that screamed, successful. His smile never reached his eyes as he approached. Melissa, you made it, and this must be the husband. He extended his hand, gripping mine too tightly. Eden, nice to finally meet the famous Victor Harmon. All good things, I hope? His laugh was practiced. Melissa is one of our rising stars. I've taken a special interest in her career. So I've heard, I replied evenly. His eyes narrowed slightly. Melissa, be a dear and fetch us some drinks. I'd love to chat with your husband. I'll go with you, I said to Melissa, not breaking eye contact with Victor. Actually, Melissa said firmly, I'd rather stay. Sarah can help with drinks. Victor's expression hardened for a split second before his smile returned. Eden, I understand you work in software development, not quite the competitive environment we have here. Every field has its challenges, but not every field requires the same dominance instinct. Some people are natural leaders, others natural followers. He glanced meaningfully at Melissa. I can always tell which is which. Is that your alpha philosophy I've heard about? I asked casually. His eyebrows rose slightly. You've been discussing me? Your reputation precedes you. My reputation, Victor said with a cold smile, is built on recognizing talent and fostering it appropriately. Some employees require firmer guidance than others. Guidance or control? Melissa asked, surprising both of us with her directness. Victor's smile faltered. I think you're confused about the difference. I'm not confused about anything anymore, she replied, standing straighter, including the difference between mentorship and harassment. Careful, Victor warned, lowering his voice. You're making serious accusations in a public setting. Not accusations, I interjected. Observations, well-documented observations. Sarah approached, standing purposefully beside Melissa. Everything okay over here? Perfect timing, Victor said, false warmth returning to his voice. We were just discussing workplace dynamics. How interesting, Sarah replied coolly. I've always found your views on workplace dynamics particularly educational. Victor's eyes darted between the three of us, clearly recognizing the united front. Melissa, Victor cut in, I need you for a quick word about the Johnson account, privately. Anything you need to discuss can include me, she responded, her voice steadier than I'd heard in weeks. Victor's facade cracked. This is a work matter. During work functions, you report to me, not your husband. Actually, I interjected, harassment isn't a work matter. It's potentially criminal. The word harassment hung in the air. Several nearby conversations stopped. Careful with accusations, Victor said quietly, smile gone. Careers end that way. So do businesses, I countered. Victor gripped Melissa's arm. Office, now. Take your hand off her, I said clearly. This doesn't concern you. I'm making it my concern. He released her but stepped closer to me. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I built this company. I own this industry in this town. And yet you need to intimidate women to feel powerful. Interesting management strategy. His voice dropped to a menacing whisper. Listen carefully. Your wife's career is in my hands. One word from me and she's not just fired, she's blacklisted. No one crosses the alpha without consequences. Are you threatening us? Melissa asked loudly, phone visible in her hand. Victor noticed the phone and paled. Are you recording this? One-party consent state, I reminded him, but that's not all we have. What does that mean? He hissed. It means Jenna kept recordings too, and Sarah has documentation, and the Johnson sisters have written statements. With each name, Victor's face grew more ashen. You're bluffing. Try us, Melissa said. Victor grabbed her phone, shoving her backward. Give me that recording. And that's when he made his fatal mistake. Physical assault in a room full of witnesses. The following weeks were a whirlwind of police reports, restraining orders, and legal consultations. Detective Jenkins proved invaluable, helping us navigate the process. The assault charge is straightforward, he explained during a meeting with Melissa, Sarah, and Jenna. Multiple witnesses saw him grab you in the phone. The harassment charges are strengthened by the recordings and corroborating statements. What about the company? Sarah asked. He's the founder. The board of directors has placed him on administrative leave pending investigation, Jenkins said. Your HR department suddenly found their backbone when faced with potential criminal charges and civil liability. Melissa's phone rang. It was Greg. You won't believe this, he said when she put him on speaker. 3 more women from Pinnacle just contacted my cousin after hearing about the police report. They're willing to come forward too. In the end, 8 women filed complaints. The district attorney pursued charges for the assault on Melissa, using the pattern of harassment as supporting evidence. Meanwhile, Pinnacle's board, facing a potential tsunami of civil suits and public relations disaster, voted to remove Victor completely. 2 months later, I accompanied Melissa to the courthouse where Victor had agreed to a plea deal, guilty to harassment and assault charges in exchange for suspended jail time, provided he complete anger management courses, community service, and most importantly, register as a sex offender. As we walked in, Victor approached with his attorney. Melissa, Eden, can we talk? His previously immaculate appearance had deteriorated. The alpha seemed smaller somehow. There's nothing to discuss, Melissa replied. Please, I just want to apologize. I've been in therapy. I realize now my behavior was inappropriate. Inappropriate, I echoed. You terrorized women for years. I know, and I'm truly sorry. I was operating under a twisted mindset about power and... Save it, Melissa interrupted. Your apology means nothing to me or any of the other women you harassed. But I'm getting help now, he pleaded. Everyone deserves a second chance. You had multiple chances, I pointed out. Each time a woman looked uncomfortable or asked you to stop, those were chances to change your behavior. The board might reinstate me if you drop the civil suit, he said, desperation creeping into his voice. We could work together again with proper boundaries this time. Melissa laughed incredulously. That will never happen. Victor's facade cracked completely. You've destroyed everything I built, my company, my reputation. You destroyed those things yourself, Melissa said firmly, every time you chose to abuse your power. His attorney pulled him away as the bailiff approached. After the hearing, we met Sarah, Jenna, and the other women for dinner. The mood was subdued but hopeful. Pinnacle's promoting Catherine Liu to interim CEO, Sarah announced. First order of business is a complete overhaul of harassment policies. And they've approved settlements for everyone, Jenna added. It won't undo the damage, but it's acknowledgement at least. Melissa raised her glass. 2 consequences. And to speaking up, I added. Later that night, as we were getting ready for bed, Melissa turned to me. Thank you for believing me instantly, for never questioning whether I was exaggerating. That's what real partners do, I replied. They believe each other and face problems together. You know, in a way, Victor was right about one thing, she said with a small smile. What's that? There was an alpha male in the situation. She took my hand. Just not the one he thought. Have you ever witnessed someone who abused their power face real consequences? If this story resonated with you, please hit like and share your thoughts in the comments.